Today we have Michel, who is an educator for more than 4 decades, almost 5.
He founded Wisdom Education Coaching and Center for Leadership and Adventure in Nature.
Winning several awards, he aims to change the lives of 1 million kids.
Out of good intention, we bombard them with all this negative information, and it's totally counterproductive. So I say now, let's stop telling the kids that they have to save the world. So what can we do, right, instead? So let's look at...
Welcome to What's Buzzing. I'm Annie from Super Bee, and today we have Michel, who is an educator for more than 4 decades, almost 5, here to share many wisdoms with us. Welcome, Michel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here, Antoinette.
You're so welcome. So I want to start with the first question. Why did you become an educator? Why did you become a teacher?
It's a very important question, and it's because of 2 teachers. One who really hurt me as a kid in kindergarten, and which was followed by the grade 1 teacher who was expecting me to be the bad kid. And I had become the bad kid because that's what the teacher was projecting on me. And then the grade 2 teacher, when I moved to a new school, and they knew my older siblings, and they were good students, and they all loved my mom, so they assumed I was a good kid. So I became a good kid. And these 2 teachers, I didn't realize it at the time in those terms, but eventually I understood the power of a teacher. The power of a teacher to make or break a kid. And I thought, we've got to make sure that we have teachers who really make the kids, they support them to become everything they can become. And that the teacher, and I'm not blaming my kindergarten teacher who reacted like this is, do I have time to tell that short story?
I think we would like to know how you became the bad kid.
Well,
I can't imagine you being the bad kid. How did you get that label?
Well, because I guess I was already obsessed with vocabulary, languages, and words, because the teacher one day said, today, we're going to make a collage, and we will cut paper, but not with scissors, with our fingers.
Okay.
And, this is weird that we have these, it's got to have been a traumatic event for real, because I have these flashes. I remember myself being puzzled and asking the teacher, like this.
What do you mean with your hands? So you didn't understand?
Exactly. We're going to use our fingers to cut paper.
So you thought like this.
So I didn't know. So I was like this, and she reacted. She took it personally. You small brat. I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was totally aggressive towards me. And it was like this. But what did I do wrong? And I know, hindsight being 20/20, right, that this teacher just didn't have the tools, the socio-emotional management tools, to understand that a kid asking you a question that sounds silly is not attacking you in any way. I genuinely did not understand what she meant. And if she had said, we will tear paper, maybe I would have understood her, right? So wow. But that's it. And from that moment on, I hated school. And I was skipping school. I was hiding under the deck at home, coming out of the house with my sister, who was in grade 1, pretending to go to school. Say, goodbye, Mom, right? And then my sister was an accomplice. She knew I was going back home, hiding under the deck. And when she came home at lunchtime, I'd come out and pretend I was at school. This is a long time ago, so nobody called my mom. There was no check about, how come this kid's not here today?
Because your mother had how many children?
Well, I have... a few. I have 8 brothers and also 8 sisters. So I'm number 13.
One of 17 children. That must be quite
a
challenge for your mother also. So your sister covered up for you. Do you think you were also kind of embarrassed or ashamed because the teacher had yelled at you, just made you feel like not really welcome?
Of course. Yeah. Like this is it. It's like hatred for school that arose at that time is probably as much based on the fact that I was not treating well as with the fact that I was not feeling well with myself. Like I was the idiot of the class, right? So why would I want to go there when a teacher does things that I take as I should feel like an idiot? And I'm not saying she made me feel like an idiot because she didn't have that intention.
But that's how you felt. So
That's
no one, big or small, wants to be in a place for 7-8 hours a day where you feel like an idiot. So you chose to hide under the veranda in very cold conditions, probably?
Yeah. Well, of course. Winter didn't matter. Like this is funny because I also remember because my sister helped me digging a hole to get under the deck, right? Dig a hole in the snow.
Oh, wow.
Because under the deck, it was dry, right? There was no snow there. So that was semi-comfortable. I guess this is where my love of winter camping in a snow cave came from. I never thought about it. But
That safe kind of space.
Yeah, totally safe.
As an Australian, I would find that quite terrifying to dig out some snow and sit in a hole. But I can see that if you were used to snow and played in snow, it might feel like a safe space. Well, and tell us about how you transformed then into the good kid after that. How many years was it just that one first year of school where you were the bad kid and you didn't want to go to school and you felt so awful about school?
No, it was also, that was in kindergarten that this event happened, right? And then in grade 1, I was at the same school. And that's another big piece of knowledge and understanding about education that hit me one day is that, why did this grade 1 teacher treat me like this? And I understood why. My reputation preceded me. She had an expectation. I know. I talked to my colleague, this kid is a bad apple. And guess what? This is what kids do. In education, we call it self-fulfilling prophecy. And it works beautifully in either direction. This kid is a rotten apple and is bad. Well, that's what the kids tend to show up because that's the expectation, right?
Would you say, though, if I'm your colleague, so let's say you're the teacher who didn't explain how to rip the paper, and you say to me, you look out for that Michel kid because he's just a pain and he's naughty and he doesn't listen or whatever. But if I'm an educator, I might take that on as a challenge also.
That's true.
Okay, that child needs a little bit more support and a little bit more effort, and I'm going to prove that label wrong. Like there are educators like that from time to time. Yes.
Yeah, fortunately, I mean, I would say this is the vast majority of educators will adopt this mindset. Yeah.
So.
No, I've worked with enough teachers over the years that I know that. And this is wonderful, right? Most people, like getting into the teaching profession, it's out of a vocation, sense of vocation for, I need to do good in the world. And I highly respect that. The question is, how many of us are trained in developing a level of self-understanding and socio-emotional management that will allow us to stay on top of it, even when the kids are pushing every button we have.
Yes.
Right? That's the challenge. And that kindergarten teacher and that grade 1 teacher, they probably didn't have those skills, but that's a long time ago. I'm talking 1965, 66 here.
Okay.
So this is a very long time ago. So they were not trained in that. But now teachers are trained better in the importance of developing socio-emotional skills. So they're better equipped to deal with that. Yet, in my humble opinion, what's still missing is that we don't go deep enough, because we carry all our personal wounds. And many times as teachers, we still have a tendency to take things personally.
It's such an important job. I think it's fairly underpaid in most countries as well, and not as respected as it should be. Right. So then eventually you went into high school, is it, or middle school, where everyone knew your other siblings who were apparently good students, so they were like, Michel's from that family, he must be great.
It was in grade 2.
Oh, in grade 2
In
already.
grade 2, yes. It's in grade 2. So this is what saved me, right? Because that school was a boarding school with Catholic nuns, and they basically saved most of us in the family. right? Otherwise, I can guarantee you pretty much I would be in jail now if I had not been there. And what happened is so smooth, right? I go there and they say, oh, here's a good kid. And then I lost my balance, right? And it's not because I was not smart enough to learn what I had to learn at school, right? Obviously I was, but I was not given a chance to show that. I didn't want to show that. Maybe is more like it as a kid, and then I decided, yeah, of course I can show you this. Right?
I can do that.
Yeah.
And okay, I think probably everyone has some teacher in their past at school. Like I'm thinking of one, Mr. Idale, his name was, in year 4, where I thought he really saw me and he pushed me. Not to push me, but he could see that, you know, I was capable at school. I felt acknowledged for my work and that I was, you know, those kind of things. That was kind of nice to have some kind of support also. And he was also a male teacher, which was rare and still is rare these days too, because there are always a lot of females in the teaching.
Yes, especially in early years in primary.
Yeah.
Not many males, right, in those two sections of the schooling, which is too bad. And secondary, overwhelming presence of male teachers.
Interesting.
Yes, where we teach a subject. So that's, it's a different ballgame.
Another podcast, yes. So let's move on to sustainability, because I know you have some experience and you're also a nature lover who rides your bicycle 85 kilometers up the Summit Loop, which is amazing. So I have this question. How can we teach sustainability to young people at school without giving them too much anxiety?
Thank you for that question, because this is a question that's close to my heart. And it's close to my heart because I've made a mistake, the same mistake many times, out of good intentions. Like trying to educate very young kids about the problems of sustainability and the pollution. And what we know now is that many of these kids who are now adults, like between 20 and 30 years old, they don't have this sense of connection to nature because they were overwhelmed by the information they received. You can't tell a 5, 7, 10-year-old kid that they have to save the world. You see what I mean? This is too much of a responsibility, right? And out of good intention, we bombard them with all this negative information and the importance of do this and do that, and it's killing it. It's totally counterproductive. So I say now, let's stop telling the kids that they have to save the world. So what can we do, right? Instead. So let's look at what we do in every other aspects of the young kid's life is we start with a very small circle of intervention, right? And early years kids, right? We talk about, okay, the control that they have over the environment in their house, right? And then we extend it to the classroom. And then eventually, as they get a bit older, we extend their level of consciousness, right, and care for the school grounds, right? And as they get older, we go a little bit beyond the school ground to the community around the school. And then we go to the city, and then we go to the world, right? So there's a logical progression there. Why? Because cognitively, the kids need time to adapt, to assimilate the information pertaining to every single circle of influence that they have. And socio-emotionally also. We bombard them with too much, they shut down, emotionally speaking. So the art of education really is to find the best next step, right? Or as Vygotsky puts it, keep the kids in the zone of proximal development. That means identifying what will be just different and challenging enough that the kids can tackle with a sense of, it's difficult, but I could be successful with this. I can manage this if I work hard enough and well enough with guidance, right? So that's the zone of proximal development. And we should use this in every area of development, including developing consciousness about the need to save the environment and how we can be acting in a way that is more sustainable.
So if we start, I really like that idea of the concentric circles, like going out and then starting in the middle in the home where children have more control. What would be some steps there, let's say, for younger students in like kindergarten or primary school? What kind of activities could you do in that center core circle?
Yeah. There's, the strongest tool that we have to teach the kids is modeling. So as parents, as educators, we need to incorporate in our own personal life many of these small measures that have a positive impact and not a negative impact on the environment, right? And I use the word environment here. This is like protecting the natural environment. So how can we do this? We leverage the physical environment around the kids. Maria Montessori is famous for having said that the environment is a third teacher, right? There's the parents, and then the school teachers, and then the environment around the kids. I love her work, yet I would say the environment is the first teacher.
Interesting.
Why? Because how do we teach a newborn baby how to walk and talk? How do we do this?
They just do it from their environment. I guess they learn from the environment.
Yes. What if you're so scared that this kid is going to hurt himself or herself that you make sure that they stay in a high chair all day?
Then they will feel like they cannot.
That's right. They will not have a supportive environment to develop the skills to walk. What if you never talk to the kid?
Then they probably won't talk either.
Exactly. Right? So, and we don't need to sit them down and say, look at me, look, this is how you walk, put a foot forward, right? This would be silly. Nobody does that. We don't say, listen, I'll teach you how, this is called a glass and inside is water. Like, we don't need to do this.
No.
We just need to create the supportive environment. That is, I talk to the kid all the time.
Yes, okay.
Right? I create an environment where the kid can crawl around, and then an environment where the kid can hoist himself up and then take a few steps and fall again and not panic when the kid falls.
Yes.
Right?
I think that's very important. So when we talk about sustainability and considering that environment for the children, like, could you give some examples of modeling that we can do in the home?
Yes. Yeah.
Apart from using Super Bee products?
Yeah, Super Bee products is a very good idea. I agree with that. That's why I'm wearing the glasses that make me look a bit silly, but it also helps with my not getting my head too big when I'm wearing something like this. But the simplest thing we can do is limiting the amount of objects we have made of plastic, right? We can say no to straws. Yes. Right? So, and this is so simple.
But if we don't do it as parents or teachers, then the children are not going to follow.
Of course.
So we need to we have to be the role model. Being the good role model.
Yes.
It's not, you can't just tell them what to do and then do something else. Yeah.
And you know, the last straw movement, right? This is a great movement, right? And we can use this at home. The kids love drinking from a straw. Yes. Because they can blow back and make bubbles, right? I know this is fun, right? Well, get them a bamboo straw or even a metal one, right? But get them something that is not so damaging to the environment. The metal one is not as good, by the way, but the bamboo one is great, right? It's got a limited life, but it's fully compostable. That's good, right? And then you limit the number of plastic items in the house in terms of the toys that the kid get. Because the relationship that the kids have with their toys is significant, right? And if they learn to feel the wood, right? They have cars that are made of wood. They have a playhouse, right? That is made of wood. They will develop a different relationship with these materials. That's interesting. So you're saying that modeling good sustainable practices, but also making sure that their toys at a young age are also made from natural material is important. Yes, because this is their contact with nature. right? And this is the other aspect of it is take the kids to nature,
Yes.
right? It might be just a park in the city if you're stuck in a large city, but they need to, and the research is big on this, they need to see the color green, the natural color green. They need to be in a natural environment because it helps, and it's not only for kids, it's for adults as well. It helps with our mental health.
Absolutely. Like, I feel like nature heals us. Without it, we don't have water or food or mental clarity, perhaps,
That's right.
too.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. So even if you live in a city, please take your kids to a park. They need that. They need contact with the ground as well. They need to sit. You know, we have a saying in schools, in Canada anyway, is that the kids who eat dirt are never sick.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
And there's truth to it. Now we know from science, they research that. And because they build their immune system.
Yes.
Right? Give them a chance. Do you know why we have so many kids allergic to peanuts?
No.
Because in the 60s, there was this event apparently in the US where a kid died at a very young age from peanut allergy, right? If you're anaphylactic level of reaction, you stop breathing, you have only a few minutes to live. So parents couldn't do anything. And then it became a big thing for some reason. And the doctors started saying, yeah, don't give peanut butter or peanuts to young kids. And the parents stopped giving that. So what happened is that the kids were not building the immune system to deal with this product.
They grew some kind of susceptibility then to
Exactly,
the peanuts.
because it came too late in their lives. And we know this now because we can heal those kids with micro dosage of peanut butter.
Oh.
Right? There's a clinic in Bangkok that does that, actually. So micro, like so small, it's like a vaccine.
Wow.
Right? It gives you a very small reaction, and that reaction is great because this is the sign that your body is building the antibodies to deal with this product. So slowly but surely they increase the dose, and eventually the kids are allergy-free.
What I'm hearing from you too is that like parents with a lot of fear who might not let them eat the peanuts in case they're allergic, or let them walk around barefoot in the park because they might hurt themselves or whatever. Like, how can parents have let their kids play in nature and run and jump and feel free, but also for the parents, how should they, do you think, manage their fear and anxiety? That's a big question. Sorry.
It is a big question, and this is the essential question, actually, because we can't teach what we don't have, right? This is it. Out of the best intentions from so many parents, if you're full of fears, you're right. You will not be allowing your child to do many things that the child would benefit from. Or sometimes you reach that step where you know that this is just my fear. I don't want my child to have that. And yes, you allow your child to do it. Well, guess what can happen is the child will feel your fear, right? And the anxiety that the girl being involved or the boy being involved in doing this will feel, mom or dad is not feeling good with me doing this.
So I'm also going to be afraid of that going
That's
forward.
right. Exactly.
Once again, the environment and the role modeling.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, no one's perfect.
No.
But it's good to have the tools and the awareness of all these things.
That's right. And then be like humble enough to seek guidance and support.
Yes.
And that's why there are so many great initiatives happening around the world in every city. It's like groups forming like, okay, I don't know about hiking and being in the mountains. I'll get lost for sure. Well, guess what? Like there's a hiking group in town and you can go and somebody's leading a hike every week, right? You don't need to be the one knowing and discovering everything by yourself, right? There's a pickleball team, right? They take anybody who's interested in learning. Go and join and go over your fear of, I'm too clunky to do sports, right?
Let's talk about teenagers for a second.
Yes.
Because I just thought, so when we're talking about young people, it's about the environment and being a good role model. And I'm sure this extends to teenagers too, but teenagers tend to like push back. Like when you say, they should go or could go hiking. That's a nice experience. But when you said that, I thought, if I asked my teenage daughter now to go hiking, she would probably not go, because they push back, and saying no is like their superpower once they turn like 14. And what is then your advice for teenagers then? Because I know there is, especially since the pandemic, a lot of teenagers are really on their screens a lot because they learned how to use them so well during that time.
Yes.
And so what kind of advice would you give to parents of teenagers who want their children to go outside more and be in nature more, but they can't, they're not motivated, they, can't drag them out of bed before midday? Like, what can you do with teenagers?
Yes. Okay.
I'm listening.
Yes, yeah. May I start with, before I answer this directly, with two elements that are very important. The first one is that to parents who have a kid who's not a teenager yet, right? Please put this in place right now, right? This is prevention is better than a cure, right? So if you can't, if you can do it, when your kids are in preschool and in primary schools, take them to nature regularly. Having them develop a personal connection with nature, having them experience different kinds of activities in nature, they're set, basically. Yes, at one point during their teenage, they might rebuke and say, no, I don't want to do this. This is something I got from mom and dad, and I'm not really interested in this. And that's fair enough. Okay. We need to accept that. Yeah. If we planted the seed and we nurture that for the first 12, 13 years of life, we can rest assured that if we don't go and destroy and force them in teenage to do things against their will all the time, then this will resurface.
I totally believe that. That's very reassuring, because my own experience was that I grew up in the bush in Australia, like an hour or so. I had an hour ride to school each day, and I grew up in nature. We had a farm. We churned our own butter. It was beautiful. And it wasn't, obviously then I became a teenager and I just hated everything. And I didn't want to help on the farm. I wanted to live in the city. And at some point I did go and live in Sydney. But then I have this moment where I took my family back to the place I grew up. And I just had this amazing sense of gratitude, because now obviously it is the reason why I do what I do and my connection to nature. So thank you for reminding me of that my kids will return to that, because they have been in their younger years definitely with nature a lot. So, okay, I'm just going to chill out then. Is that what parents need to do? Chill out if you've done that?
Absolutely. Right. I mean, the last thing that we need to do as parents of teenagers is to try to force our program onto them, right? That being said, let's say you did not manage to do this and create that like a sense of connection to nature with your child in early years and primary years. And then you have a teenager and you realize, oh, this is important, right? Not everything is lost, right? What we have always at our disposal, even though we lose a lot of the power of control over the kids, like you have a 2-year-old kid who has a tantrum and doesn't want to follow, you pick him up and put him in a car, right? This is, you have physical control over these little animals, right? But when they're teenagers, forget it, right?
No, they're stronger than you mostly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, bigger and stronger than you. So what do you have? You have whatever power of influence you cultivated over the years. And what I mean by this is that our circle of control as parents is huge. When they're born, the kid is like one little dot within that circle of control, and I control that dot, right? But eventually their circle grows, right? And mine has to shrink, right? So, and it's never too late to engage in this process of articulating for ourselves that, okay, my circle of control now, okay, I try to maintain it. Let's say I did not shrink it small enough as my kid circles was getting bigger, right? So that's where we get into this kind of confrontational relationship. it's not too late. I can stop and say, okay, wow, I'm still trying to hold this level of control over my kid. Okay, it's not good. What is it that's really under my control for this kid now? And just come out with key elements that are important for long-term for this kid, that the kid is not yet capable of understanding the long-term consequences of a few key decisions, so I still need to make those decisions, right? And then whatever those will be, right? And then the rest, I have to accept that my kid is in charge of most of the rest.
They have their own circle at
exactly,
some point,
that kept enlarging, but I can influence that. How? If I have a relationship that is allowing that. And this relationship will be based on a few elements. One is respect of your zone of control in relations to my zone of control. I'm not trying to come over yours, right? That's the first thing. And the second element that the kids are dying to get from their parents and teachers is trust. Trust that they have everything they need to be successful and happy. And trust that they will learn from mistakes.
Yes.
And trust that if they really need help, they know where to find it. They know how to ask for it. And these things need to be articulated to the teenager, because they will not know this instinctively, right? This is where we can sit down and say, okay, I need to confess a few things, right? And the sweetest words in the world, people say, the sweetest word is our name, right? When people say Antoinette, and it sounds so good, right? So I would argue maybe there's a second, or maybe this is the first for a teenager anyway, and younger kids too. The sweetest words in the world is parents or teachers saying, honey, I'm sorry. I was wrong. You were right. Wow. If you want to open a kid's, even a teenager's ears, start with that.
This is such valuable information. And actually now that you've stopped being a principal or a teacher, you now have your new endeavor where you're sharing all your wisdom with parents and teachers. You have teacher workshops and parent workshops. Yes. And sharing all of this beautiful wisdom from almost 5 years dedicated as an educator. And where can people contact you if they want to learn more about your workshops?
Yes, well, they can visit my website. It's wisdomedcoaching.com. Ed for short for education. Wisdom Education Coaching is the name of the company I run now, with one big goal. Because you're right, I'm after almost 5 decades in schools in education as a teacher and principal, I found myself just over a year ago wondering, okay, what's my purpose now? Because as a teacher, you know, the purpose is obvious. As a school principal, your purpose is like, I go to school and I support growth. I support tomorrow's generation, right? The future. And it's very clear. And now I'm home alone and I'm going, what's going to happen? So I have a new objective, and I need parents' help, and I need teachers and school leaders' help, because I go to schools too as a consultant. Like one school I'm going to go to soon is to build a mindfulness program for the school, right? Help them put this up. And they are helping me reach my goal, which is to positively impact the lives of 1 million kids.
Wow.
That's what I aim for. Is this realistic? I have no idea, but it doesn't matter.
I've known you for many years. I feel like you will definitely pull that off.
All I can do is do my best today. And then if it comes to pass that I reach 1 million, I do. And if it doesn't, it doesn't matter, because every day that I will have made a small difference for one kid, I'm happy.
Well, thank you for all you do. And thank you to all the other educators out there. It's such an important job, and incorporating sustainability and mindfulness into education is very important. One last question. What is your favorite Super Bee product?
You know, Super Bee has this crazy idea that we can do laundry in a different way. Just putting a little bag in the laundry machine and then take it out and use it again. And I love that.
So, just for you, I have one Hexa wash for you today to use for a whole year of laundry.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you see, this is teaching through modeling.
Yes. I find
Right?
when we do the beeswax wrap workshops at schools, the kids
Yes.
really like it.
Yeah.
And I do think alternatives are a good answer to like empowering people to be part of the solution.
Yes. Because it's creative.
Yes.
And what are you doing with this? And I thank you for this and for all the products, actually, that every time I go to Canada, visit my friends and family, I bring a bunch of stuff from Super B, because it's beyond just the good that the products do. It's generating ideas that we don't have to follow the general pattern of things.
Yes.
We
thank
can
you.
think laterally. We can be divergent thinkers and say, okay, how else can I do this that will be better? And this is the key skill, thinking skill, that the kids will need in the future. Well, they need it already, not in the future, right now, but definitely for the future as well. Like thinking out of the box. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
My
you so
pleasure.
much for coming.
Hey, my pleasure.